Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. Thanks so much for joining me for a dream or two. Just gonna get to this because I've been having dreams off the hook, 4 a night, 5 a night easily. I'm just gonna tell you about two of them because they were similar. One of them I wake up, come to, and I'm on a subway, and the subway is just going like a million miles a minute, like the speed of light. And I'm mesmerized by the view outside the window. Over here, it's huge, great, big fruit, candy pieces. And they are covered in sugar. And the sugar was very crystal clear, almost like diamonds. So I was just mesmerized by the whole view of it. I was smiling, just elated. Could care less about the subway. I hear some chattering going on in the back. And I look around, and I see an entity that I'm familiar with, a female one. She starts panicking, and I didn't understand why. But then someone rings the bell, and the subway train comes to a stop, a screeching halt. And I looked at, and I happened to see her ticket. I see the stop, and I said, "Oh, it's your stop." And she says, "I'm not getting off here." And I said, "Yes, you are. It's your stop." And she says, "I'm not getting off here. I'm absolutely not. Look." And I look, and it's all dark. It's just dark. It's not even space. It's just dark. And so I was like, "But that's what your ticket says." She says, "I'm not going out there. It's too dark." And so she throws her ticket after she tears it, throws it, and it just disappears. It literally just vanished into thin air. And we both kind of look, and then I look at her. I said, "But this is your stop. We won't be able to go until you get off here." She says, "I'm hanging on. I'm coming with you." So the only thing that jumped into me was like, no, you can't go with us because this is not, this is your stop. I push her, and she just dissipates like into the darkness. I don't know why I did that. I'm sure I didn't mean any bad thing about it, but there was a reason why I did that. And so what happens? I don't know. I woke up. So I go and I write that down, do what I got to do, come back. It's the second dream I have. I wake up, come to, and I'm on this freeway. And this freeway is just, it's chaotic. There's all kinds of interchanges, roads coming this way, just cars going like the speed of light. There are turns, crazy turns. And if you were to look down on it, it would look like just a rat race. They were just going everywhere. Anyways, so I was approaching my exit, if that even makes sense, because of the whole, I don't even know how to explain it. There was just so many roads on this freeway, and every road went a different place, and they were all going fast. And so you really had to know what you were doing and paying attention. So, but my turn was coming up, my exit was coming up, and this turn that I had to make, I just knew this. I had one chance to make it. Otherwise, I was going to be whizzed right back into the shuffle of the mix. And I knew I didn't want that. I wanted to get off. I did not want to be on that freeway, road, whatever you want to call it, because it was just supercharged and it was just really fast. It's just too much for me. So I knew that my exit was coming up. And so I'm preparing, okay? And so as I'm preparing and I'm approaching my exit and I'm going at the speed of light, I get all the way up to the exit. And did I make that turn? I absolutely did. It's my dream. Of course I did. But the anticipation beforehand, folks, that was crazy. It was enough to wake me up there. So that's what I did. I got up and I wrote down and took a moment to appreciate that. So what do you think those dreams meant? Well, I'll tell you what came to me. When I woke up and for the last time, you go into a meditative state, you get some sort of answers for these dreams and what they may mean. What came up for me? Spiritual bypassing. Yeah. What is that all about? Let's go discuss this, shall we? All right, guys, so what is spiritual bypassing? Okay, well, let me ask you this. What comes to mind when you think of spirituality? Is it beautiful temples? Buddhas? Is it ascended masters or angels? Maybe it's a majestic mountaintop. Most of us tend to associate spirituality, these heightened states of awareness, with feelings of happiness, joy, inner peace, and contentment. And while many of us understand this to be a beautiful thing, most of us can become intoxicated or distracted by these attractive images of spirituality. And in doing so, We tend to avoid the darker, more painful, and exhausting sides of the path. There are all kinds of traumatic life situations that happen for each and every one of us that cause us to turn to spirituality in times of need. Maybe at the loss of a loved one. Maybe it is family problems or a relationship breakup. Maybe there was childhood abuse. Maybe loneliness or fear, or maybe any type of mental or emotional or health issue. It causes us to turn to spirituality, and we use it. We use it as a crutch to stand back up on our feet in times of life's crisis. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when we use it all the time like a drug and become so dependent on it that we bypass the darker part of our lives with it. Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists." When spirituality is used as a defense mechanism to ward off our negative aspects, if you will, it actually hinders us. It actually prevents you from developing the tools that you need to deal with the issues down the road. Because now all you're doing is looking at the lovely images, and you're not dealing with the darker part, the emotions that rose from that issue. You're denying yourself strong characteristics for yourself to be able to handle the next life lemon, if you will. You're denying yourself courage. You're denying yourself authenticity, wholeness. These are qualities that actually refine your soul, but only if you don't bypass them and you're able to go in and deal with them. See, the problem is that when we use spirituality and get intoxicated with those lovely images, we hide behind this lovely big wall. And what it does is it kind of keeps us trapped in a fake illusion of a jail cell of all happy and perfect world, when that's really not the case. You're just not choosing to deal with the negative side that put you there to begin with. It's not good because you're masking it, you're hiding it. We know that if you don't deal with those emotions, what happens? When you choose to bypass them, they end up turning into your shadow energy. And what happens with that shadow energy? It festers and it stews, and all you're doing is masking, you're repressing. You're choosing not to check in. You're choosing not to take that 5 minutes to deal with that emotion. And so now those shadow energies, now they end up becoming the shadow self. And guess what? The next time life throws a lemon at you, now you are possessed, if you will, by that shadow energy, because now you're reacting. Okay? And so the next time life throws that lemon or that obstacle in your way, it's not going to be the cool, calm, collected, compassionate side of you that comes out. I can assure you that. It's going to be the one that reacts in anger and rage and frustration. That's the shadow self. That's because you bypass the emotion. There is a quote that says, "What gives light must endure the burning." Pursuing and living the light in a state of complete and utter bliss is fine. But in order to do so, you must also set yourself on fire so that you can give off that light, so that you can understand completely the emotions from the depths of your soul to the farthest reach for other souls. You want to know a couple ways you can tell if someone is actually doing spiritual bypassing? Let's take a look at some of the common spiritual ways of bypassing. You have the optimistic bypasser. These are the people in life who love to laugh, smile, and they're always forcefully optimistic. This was me. It's the people that go, focus on the positive. See that glass half full. Don't let that frown get you down. Those people, they use optimism in a way of avoiding any trouble. These are the bypassers that are very afraid to get angry. It's like they have an anger phobia. They're afraid to get mad. That was me for the longest time. It's because I had the inability to deal with any negative emotions. I didn't know how. So, okay, the victim bypasser. This is often used by spiritual seekers who believe they have extrasensory gifts of some sort, but due to their gifts are unable to feel happy or healthy. An example of this type of bypassing would be, it's your fault that I'm not happy, or it's because I am so sensitive that I'm not able to live a life filled with joy. Yeah, that's the victim bypasser. The psychonaut bypasser. I like these guys. These are the ones that are always knocking at your door each and every weekend. Okay? They want to go on a trip with you, literally. These are the spiritual seekers exploring the frontiers of the mind and the soul and different realities through the use of psychedelic drugs, such as LSD, DMT, mushrooms, mescaline, or any other one of those drugs. Whatever drug expands the mind and the perception of existence, they are all about that. And yes, while it's a very fascinating way to explore the reality, some say that these can be sometimes used as a way of escaping reality and avoiding committing to personal development and soul refinement. These are the people that are always looking to be enlightened, but can't seem to get there without using this every single time. These are the ones that have to have it. There are bypassers. These are the bypassers, though, that need to check in a different way, because you can certainly reach that enlightened state without having to use an alternate substance each and every time. The horoscope bypasser. Those are great. When we frequently look outside ourselves for help and guidance, as with the case with the horoscopes and psychics, we are failing to tap into our own inner springs of wisdom and strength. And we are allowing external predictions to control the outcome of our lives. The horoscope bypasser, they have fear and mistrust of themselves and their own intuition. They have the inability to make decisions, if you will, an inability to deal with anything that's tough that comes their way. They'd rather just leave it to the outside, prediction. Oh, well, it's because of my horoscope that I had a bad day. My horoscope said that I was going to not meet someone. I don't know. It's those type of people. The saint bypasser. When we were little, we were all taught that spiritual people were very kind, compassionate, and saintly. It's the whole underlying belief that spiritual people could never have a dark side because, well, that wouldn't make them spiritual. And if they did have a dark side, it would make them unspiritual. That's not the case. It's the self-sacrifice that tells us that those people cannot possibly have had a bad side because, well, they sacrificed themselves for the cause. This bypasser is ignoring facts that everyone has a shadow self. The spirit guide bypasser. These are the ones that say I have an angel or an animal or whatever to protect me. In some spiritual religions and traditions, there's a God who protects. Others have angels, ascended beings, protect animals. No matter what the spirit guide is, the belief is that they're being protected. And that is what is pleasing to the mind, but harmful to the soul. Because when you place your faith in another being's power to ward off any danger to keep you safe, well, that's just committing a classic spiritual bypassing. You're avoiding the responsibility for yourself and for your life. You're sidestepping a very tough development for yourself of courage and resilience. So, gotta watch that one. All right, we have the praying bypasser. Similar to the spirit guide bypasser, but the praying bypasser, they circumvent personal responsibility. They put faith in a higher being to solve all of their problems for them. Now, we all know that praying is very healthy, but it also can become very limiting, somewhat destructive, if that's all you're doing, is praying your problems away. Don't leave that to chance, guys. The guru bypasser. There's a lot of these ones out there. We know in times of need, we all reach out to a wise one. And it's often beneficial to latch on to, a particular guru or shaman or priest or spiritual teacher, because we learn and we grow from them. However, when you put too much attachment on someone like that, it can serve to be a form of spiritual bypassing. The reason being is because not everybody has the ability to follow the path of spirituality in a way that when you start to worship, the words that they say, you're worshiping another fellow human being. You're treating their word as scripture, and you're not learning from it. You put these rose-colored illusion glasses on, and now you're just falling in love with the person, and you're not really listening to what they're really supposed to be saying to you. Not thinking or discovering truth for ourselves by treating the words of the guru or the master as scripture, it only subtracts from your own growth, on your own mastery, on your own personal spiritual journey. So you have to be careful about that one. Okay, you got the 5-finger bypasser. When you start going down your spiritual quest, you begin to see things a little bit differently. You start seeing through lies and deceit and crazy behaviors. You start waking up, if you will. Well, the problem with that is that we get caught up in the everything is wrong with the outside world, right? And we start pointing fingers because we've been on a spiritual journey, right? I'm pointing fingers at everybody else but myself. That's another form of spiritual bypassing. So be careful, okay? Because when you do 5-finger pointing to someone else and forget to take a look here, it instills inside you a false sense of righteousness, okay? And that alone will take away responsibility of looking inward and working on yourselves. So you got to be careful you don't become one of those. At the very root, finger-pointing bypassers, they're sourced out of fear and avoidance, okay? It's a very powerful form of procrastination, if you will. Guys, there are many forms of spiritual bypassing. These are just some of the common ones. We are not children, but when we think of ourselves as being so, we mold our lives in such a way that we fail to develop strength of spiritual characteristics for ourselves and for our own growth. Spirit guides serve to teach us, not babysit us. It can be absolutely terrifying to personally expose yourself in the most profound, vulnerable parts of your being in the process of purification. No one said it was going to be easy, folks. But slowly, as you set a fire to all the illusions, you're going to see that life is much more clear, more connected, deeply satisfying, and undeniable in it being more joyful for you. So folks, don't become a bystander in your journey. Take the time, take 5 minutes a day for yourself. You deserve it. Guys, until next dream, thanks so much for joining me for the Daily Dreamer. Many blessings to you.